This is Malcolm Reese with TPNewsRoom.com, news, commentary, and opinion. And today I want to talk about something people keep pretending isn't happening. How civil rights, immigration, and raw demographic math all got dumped into the same pot and then cooked into policy. The civil rights movement was supposed to give this country a compass, not vibes, not slogans, a compass. Title VI said you can't discriminate based on race, color, or national origin in programs that take federal money. Title VII said you can't do it in employment. Then came the Voting Rights Act and Hart-Celler. The message was simple. The state does not get to sort human beings by race. That was the North Star. Now, here we are, umpteen years in the future, not hypothetical, right now. A 6-3 Supreme Court quietly lifts a federal judge's order and lets immigration agents in LA go back to doing roving patrols, using race, ethnicity, language, neighborhood, and job sites as part of reasonable suspicion. No full hearing, no oral argument, shadow-docket. One paragraph to flip a whole city's reality. Kavanaugh said ethnic background can be a relevant factor. And then you see DHS on Twitter bragging about 5,000 plus arrests and promising to flood the zone. That's not enforcement. That's a show. One part fact, one part performance, one part terror, all on purpose. We've been here before. Terry vs. Ohio creates a reasonable suspension. Brahogni Ponce says you can't stop somebody just because they look Mexican. Arzuzu comes along and says, look at the totality of circumstances. And that totality is the exact loophole they're driving through right now. On paper, nothing changed. In practice, when your factors are race plus Spanish plus day labor corner plus certain zip codes, that's not context. That's a proxy. That's profiling dressed up as procedure. And for the person getting stopped, it doesn't feel like totality. It feels like 1963 with new branding. Not black, but brown. Not a Southern drawl, but Spanish. Not Jim Crow, but South LA. And here's where it jumps from policy to pattern. This isn't just LA anymore. You can go online right now and see what's happening in Chicago. White women literally blowing whistles on sidewalks to warn people that ICE is sweeping the block. Neighborhood alerts. Street corners turned into alarm systems. Now, don't misunderstand my intention. I'm not for illegal immigration, but I'm also not for what's happening right now. Pulling anybody who looks brown and calling it reasonable suspicion. You can enforce a law without abandoning the compass. And that lack of a compass, it's spreading. I have family in West Virginia who saw firsthand, yes, West Virginia, who saw firsthand agents blocking, pulling, and ghosting a yard crew on their way to work. The point is, this lack of compass is national now. Not local, not isolated, not something you read in the paper, something you see on the news, something you see on social media. No, it's local. It's in your neighborhood. Because underneath all the headlines, something deeper is happening. This is a numbers war. For as long as we've kept records, Black America has sat around 12 to 13% of the population. Through slavery, Jim Crow, civil rights, mass incarceration, the percentage never moves. 12, 13%. Solid. That's contained. That's managed. That's predictable. White America, once 90%, now slipping below 58%. Asian America, once invisible, now over 6% of the population. Hispanic America, in 1970, they were barely 4%. Now, they're almost 20% and growing faster than any group in the country. Everybody else is moving. Black America is locked in place. The Latino population is exploding. And the question the system is asking, even if they won't say it out loud, is simple. What happens when we can't control the numbers anymore? Because Black America The system already has a playbook: welfare myths, crime bills, task forces, a whole infrastructure built to manage Black dissent without shifting power. And honestly, it's like America has a cheat code for us. Every time we jump, it jumps higher. Every time we level up, it spawns a new obstacle. We grab the biggest weapon, suddenly there's a bigger boss. It's a game where the rules change the second we start winning. But Latino growth, that's different. No centuries-old playbook, no single spokesperson, no predictable voting pattern, just families spreading into Arizona, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, the new battlegrounds. That's the dog at the gate. And when power can't control a population, it tries to control the gate. That's why immigration gets framed like an invasion, even though the crime numbers don't match. That's why people who build our economy and pay billions in taxes get treated like a threat. It's not their record, it's their trajectory. It's the map 20 years from now. So what does the system do? It turns enforcement into theater. It performs strength. It scares communities. It floods the zone because fear spreads faster than facts. And once profiling is normalized in immigration, it doesn't stay in immigration. It drifts into traffic stops. It drifts into schools, into voter ID enforcement, into everyday policing. That's how a country drifts backward while telling itself it's moving forward. So where do I stand? What do I think about it? I'll be honest. I support legal immigration. I support borders because, honestly, every nation sets rules. That's called governance. But I don't support turning communities into stages so somebody in DC can look tough. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm anti-chaos. I'm not anti-enforcement. I'm anti-theater. If your reasonable suspicion checklist reads like a census of who speaks Spanish, you're not enforcing the law. You're profiling. And if your North Star says the state shouldn't police people by race or accent, then you can't call this justice with a straight face. So yeah, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to write about it. I'm going to put it on camera. Not to make you agree with me, not to feed your comfort, but to make you question again, to make you pause before you repost, to make you ask who benefits from the spectacle. Because the moment you stop thinking for yourself, someone else is ready to think for you.